Hey everybody, this is Claire, and this is Small Joyful Things. As always, I go to thrift stores, or I go to estate sales, or sometimes I buy things from Craigslist, and I'm looking for things that I think you guys would find interesting, or that I just want to talk about myself. And then I bring them home, try and find out everything I can about them, and then tell you guys about them. So here's what I got today. What I have is a pair of tumblers, and these are, I want to say they're rather interesting. Interesting glassware, I would have to say. I'm pretty sure that you can't quite see exactly the pattern and everything on them. You can see that there's a lot going on here. And they are iridescent as well. I'll put that one over there for a second. So there is a pair. I paid $6 each for them. They are quite heavy. They're hand-blown art glass. There are no chips, no cracks, no nothing. And you can see they've been polished smooth. There is basically no mark or signature or anything on them. There is a slight bit of wear on the base, which you may be able to see. That is consistent with them being, I would say, vintage. I don't think they've been used much, but they have been used in some way. Oh yeah, if you can actually look through them, there is speckled red over a core of what I think is orange. It's not really focusing very well. You can just barely see it there. And as well as that, obviously they have these lines of black kind of woven into it, which you can barely see because the iridescence is so strong. It's kind of blocking all of that nice pattern. If I put that down there, you can see that the pattern in this one goes up much higher. This one is quite low. It stops about there. This goes almost all the way to the rim. Same thing, no chips, no cracks, no nothing. There is a slight bit of wear in this one as well. And this one also has that. And you can see that roughness there or whatever. That's basically sand of some kind that's gotten, or dirt or whatever. It's gotten stuck in the glass. That's never coming out. Not for lack of trying, but no, that's probably not going to come out. And I'm not about to try and, get it out at this point, because down that way lies disaster. But same thing. They are both quite heavy in the hand. They are heavier than glasses. Now, I did actually pick them up thinking that they were vases, and I'm pretty sure you could use them as that if you were stuck with it, because they're heavy enough to really, they are definitely heavy enough that they will stand up on their own with, flowers or whatever else you want to put in them. The base is heavy. Like that roundedness there, that's got weight to it. But anyway, we're going to have to measure these up. Now, the interesting thing about these is that one of them is slightly bigger than the other. Now, let's just measure them. This is about 6 inches tall. And about 3 1/4 inches wide. You can see that the rim is actually quite thick on these as well. Damn it. The rim is quite thick as well. And you can imagine if you have a regular kind of commercially created like tumbler of some kind, that the rim would actually be quite thin. This one is not. This is about as thick as ceramic. Now for this one, go anywhere you. Yeah, there we go. That's a bit more. That's about 6 1/2 inches. You can see that, I'm just eyeballing this here, but you can see the slight difference in height. These are definitely hand blown. This one, also 3 1/4 inches across. Come on, there we go. Okay, so essentially, why did I pick these up? Well, first of all, because it's art glass, and I'm just a sucker for art glass. And I ended up seeing the pattern of iridescence and the threadedness, and I thought, I wonder if that's a Robert Held piece. Robert Held, if you don't know him, is a very famous Vancouver glass artist. Basically, if you see any kind of nice hand-blown iridescent glass around Vancouver, there's a high chance that it's something from him specifically. He was working in North Vancouver for a really long time, ended up retiring, moved out to Vancouver Island, and then found that he actually liked blowing glass so much that he came out of retirement and started blowing glass again. But yeah, I've bought and sold some of his work. I have a vase that he's done that's part of my own collection as well. Now, here's the thing. I got these home and I looked at them closely and I thought, no, these aren't Robert held, because there's too much going on that is wrong, or that indicates that whoever made them probably was just learning. Like, especially that there. That's like, you're never going to see a master glassblower do that. They're not going to let that out of their studio. It's just not going to happen. Like, especially if you're talking about art glass specifically. Like, you can see looking at these that although the color is nice, what they were going for with the black underlay and the speckled and everything like that is just like the pattern is entirely lost because the iridescence is way too strong. Like, even the fact that the tumblers just aren't the same height, there's that difference of half an inch or whatever. I'm pretty sure that if you had a master glassblower who was going to make like a set of tumblers, they would all be almost the same height. It just seems to be a kind of a given. Yeah, I like the fact that it's actually polished at the bottom, because, you know, like, it's probably not cheap art glass. Someone was actually trying when they made this. It's just they kind of missed the mark. That's why I think it was somebody who's learning. I don't think that this is something made cheaply in China, for example. Like, I think that the kind of sum total of what we got here indicates that whoever was attempting this was actually making an effort. Like, they were trying to produce something maybe like the style of Robert held, but they may not actually have been trying to look like Robert held. They could have been looking for like somebody else. And I'm going to show this. So, okay, first of all, the thing that seems to come up most if you're actually looking for this particular style is threaded glass, which is like stuff like this. And there's a few good examples. Yeah, stuff like that. This one here. Again, this is like, if you start looking back like Art Deco kind of thing, iridescent threaded glass was definitely a thing back in, like, you know, the 1910s, 1920s. And I think I've mentioned it before, but Robert held seems to have really taken a shine to the Lowe's and Tiffany glass of that era, and he just decided to start reproducing it for the modern age. So, I mean, it's not unusual for me to think that, oh, that kind of looks like Robert held. But apart from that, if you want to actually just take a look at Robert held threaded vases, there's not that many. I know I've seen a few, and I've seen a few like this. But the most of what he does with iridescent wise, it tends to be feathered or freeform. It's got a lot of interesting stuff going on. It has like iridescence in layers. But the thing about his stuff that I've seen is that it's always incredibly high quality. It looks good. Here's the man himself. Like, it looks like it was made by a master artisan. And you can see that this is just a random example. I'm looking here I'm trying to find a few that would be similar. That's something like his. Like, you can see it's a red art glass vase. It's got kind of a threaded kind of effect. But the important thing about this is that you can see all the threading very well. The iridescence is done correctly. So, not really like this. So, what else might they have been trying to copy? And here's a few examples that I thought would be kind of interesting. There were a few manufacturers, as far as I know, that all have been around the same time, I think in the 1920s, and they did this stuff like this. And you've got Kralik, Lowe's obviously, and then there's a Palmakonig. They actually might be modern. I got to do some more research on them. And I think it's mostly Kralik that really did it. Yeah, there's a lot of kind of just essentially kind of messing about and trying to kind of narrow down search terms and everything. But this one's a fairly good example of, like, that's how it would have been done well. These, and maybe not so much. And it seems to mostly be done. I've actually got vases. I don't think we're going to get anything for tumblers. Well, let's take a quick look anyway. Yeah, see, vintage Bohemian art glass. Not quite, I would say. Yeah, like, it's not really there. As far as I know, if you see something that's vintage Bohemian or whatever in that particular style, it's probably Kralik. And you can see that these are quite nice. I mean, that's definitely a look. It's a bit of an extreme look, but I mean, it's possible. This person essentially was going for something similar to this. And, you know, missed the mark. But anyway, I still quite like these for what they are. I mean, they're not really perfect. They're essentially someone just, you know, probably they were learning and they decided to produce a piece. I would say that if it was actually like if you know, if this was something that was actually made by a master artist and they wanted to, you know, be proud of it or whatever, they would have actually just signed it. The fact that it's unsigned and doesn't seem to be obviously commercial kind of suggests to me that it is somebody that's learning. And with, you know, all the other stuff that I said, I still think they're kind of cool. They are weighty, which is a bit of a problem if it comes to actually selling and shipping. I have considered what they might be worth. I think maybe they would be worth maybe $10 to $15 each, because they are art glass and I'm sure someone's going to kind of enjoy the style. Maybe someone is, you know, into vampires and think it would be kind of cool to drink out of a glass that looks a bit like this. I don't know. In my experience, no matter how weird something is, someone somewhere will absolutely find that that is part of that. That's their aesthetic. That's their jam. They're going to want it. But okay, $10 to $15 a piece. The shipping is going to be a bit much, but that's neither here nor there. That just comes with the territory of, you know, buying and selling glass, I guess. I still kind of like them. I hope you guys like them as well. Thank you very much for and this is my small joyful thing for the day. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.